Okay, guys, so good morning. So I hope you had a good weekend, no? And sorry for the delay of my lecture since I'm really having a hard time talking. Okay, since I was diagnosed to have asthmatic bronchitis. Okay, so I have meds naman, but I'm still having shortness of breath, especially in talking, no? So please bear with me lang, no, for today. Okay, so our main topic is about week 8 and week 9, no, is about circulatory system physiology. Okay, so for our first topic, no, we'll be discussing about blood. Okay, so yun yung pinaka main topic natin for week 8, and then for week 9 we'll be discussing the local and humoral control of your blood flow. Okay, so to give you sorry, excuse me. So, for our lecture outline, so we'll be discussing the composition of your blood, okay? The different types of your form elements, specifically your red blood cells, your white blood cells, and your platelets, and their functions, okay? And then on the last part, we'll be discussing blood typing and about immunity, and syempre, hemostasis and blood coagulation. Okay? So let's discuss a little bit about your blood before we discuss its function. Okay? So basically, your blood is a specialized liquid connective tissue, and it is a life-sustaining fluid because it contains your respiratory gases nga needed by your body together with the nutrients and hormones. No? So your blood, no, it flows in a unidirectional movement within your closed circulatory system, okay? And it is propelled, no, by rhythmic contractions of your heart, okay? So basically, nagfo-flow siya, kaya nga specialized connective tissue siya kasi nagfo-flow siya all throughout your body, okay? Kaya meron siyang three major functions, okay? It is for transportation, for regulation, and for protection, okay? So let's deal with it one by one. Okay, so the first function of your blood, no, is for transportation. So ang pinaka primary function niya is that it transports, no, oxygen from your lungs into your systemic circulation. Okay, so basically this oxygen, no, is needed by your uh, organ system, no, in order to perform properly, okay? While aside from delivering oxygen, it also delivers, no, yung metabolic waste such as your carbon dioxide, kasi 'di ba, your carbon dioxide needs to be expelled out of your system via your venous circulation to your respiratory tract as we exhale, 'di ba? So basically these are the two respiratory gases, no, that is transported by your blood. Okay, we have your oxygen and we have your carbon dioxide. So aside from these respiratory gases, it also carries, no, yung mga waste products natin, okay, from the cells, no, to be eliminated through the lungs nga in the form of carbon dioxide, and the others would be eliminated by way of your kidney, okay, via your urine. Okay? So basically, yan yung mga hindi na nagagamit ng katawan nyo. Okay? So they will be expelled out from your body. And then, aside from the metabolic waste, no, it also transports hormones, okay, to their target organs. Diba? Excuse me. These hormones, no, that are secreted from the endocrine glands are distributed to their specific target organ via the blood. Kaya nga kung mapapansin nyo, mabilis yung effect niya. Lalo na pag humalo yung hormones nyo sa inyong blood, basically, okay? So, ayan. So, basically, that is the transport, okay? Yung primary function niya ng blood nyo is for transport. Okay? Aside for transport, it regulates, okay, appropriate body temperature. So how does it regulate appropriate body temperature? So basically your blood kasi and your blood vessels, they are capable of constricting and dilating, okay? So if ever that the environment is warm, for example, okay? So your blood vessels vasodilate in order to increase the blood flow. Okay? Pag increase yung blood flow, mas nagde-dissipate yung yung sweat mechanism nyo. Nagdi-dissipate yung heat from the inside of our body towards the outside. Okay? So, ganun yung nangyayari during vasodilation. And when there is vasoconstriction, ang nangyayari naman, if it's too cold, di ba? So, nagva-vasoconstrict yung blood vessels natin in order to retain the heat inside our body. Okay? So, ganun. It maintains your appropriate body temperature. Aside from that, dahil it contains your respiratory gases, it maintains the normal pH in your body tissues, 'di ba? So if there's too much carbon dioxide, it makes your blood too much acidic. If there's too much oxygen naman in your blood, no, it makes your blood too alkali. It makes your blood alkalinic. Okay? And then, syempre, aside from maintaining the normal pH, no, it regulates the concentration of fluid, no, in appropriate ranges. Okay, basically. Okay, so, ang ginagawa niya, no, if there's too much fluid, for example, in the bloodstream, so, it will be pushed out. Okay, towards the interstitial spaces. So, dapat, maintain lang din nila yung homeostasis between the bloodstream and the interstitial spaces. Okay? Para hindi magkaroon ng edema. Okay? So, ayan. Kasi we also have this type of protein sa blood vessels or ay sa blood sa blood no which maintains the levels of fluid. Okay? Na kapag wala to, ang tendency ng plasma nyo, yung what fluid component part of your blood, lalabas na at lalabas siya sa blood vessels. So, yung mga ganon. Okay? And then the third to, the third excuse me, the third function of your blood is that it prevents no blood loss and it prevents infection in your body. Okay, so basically this is the defense mechanism of your body. Okay, so makikita yan sa blood because in your blood no you'll see your platelets no which prevents blood loss via hemostasis and blood coagulation. While your blood no contains also a certain type of a certain formed elements known as your white blood cells, which is capable naman of preventing infection. Okay, that there is if there is a virus or bacteria that attacks our body, ang tendency nila sila yung first line of defense natin. Okay, they attack that bacteria or viruses para hindi na mag-manifest. Okay? So it prevents infection. Okay? So ayan. So again, so now let's discuss the volume and characteristics of your blood. Okay? So your blood, guys, has a sticky texture. Okay? Why sticky? Kasi it is 5 times more viscous than your water. Okay? And then, if you have tasted your blood, no, it has a metallic taste. Okay? It has a metallic taste. Okay? Aside from that, okay, the color of your blood should be if it's oxygen rich, no, ang color niya is scarlet red. Pero if it's oxygen poor, it's dark red. Okay? And its pH is about 7.35 to 7.45 and its temperature is slightly higher than the normal. Okay? So it's 38 degrees Celsius and it accounts for the 8% of our body weight. So, yung volume niya sa male, mas mataas compared sa female. So, for males, no, it's 5 to 6 liters, while for females, it's 4 to 5 liters. Bakit ganon? Excuse me. Kasi, ah mas mataas yung metabolism ng lalaki at mas mataas yung at mas malaki yung body build nila as compared to females. Okay? Kaya medyo mababa sa females. Okay? So, those are the characteristics of your blood. Okay? So your blood, guys, no? When withdrawn from your body, guys, okay, it is placed in a centrifuge in order to differentiate its component parts. Okay? So basically, okay, your blood is composed of mainly fluid and its form elements. Okay, so actually we have two major components of your blood. So the yellow part, so this is the plasma. Okay, okay, so the plasma of the blood accounts for 55% of its blood volume. Okay, so basically this is the water component of your blood, while your form elements naman accounts for 45%. Okay, in other books yung plasma 54% lang kasi we have this buffy coat. Okay? Buffy coat ng blood, okay? Na that accounts for 1%. Pero minsan sobrang liit lang niya kaya hindi na masyado siyang nilalagay. Okay? So ayan siya. So yung Buffy coat na yan, usually ano yan eh, tawag dito, ano ba tong Buffy coat na to? It pertains to ano eh, to your, tawag dito, to your, yung parang ano, yung sa blood nyo kasi para siyang, pag nakita nyo yung blood nyo, para siyang, pag, di ba kapag nag-drop kayo ng blood, so para siyang merong pinaka-outer covering, di ba? Para, kaya kapag nag-drop kayo ng blood nyo, para siyang ano talaga, para siyang nakabilog, di ba? So, yung hindi siya agad-agad nagdi-disperse yung shape niya, di ba may shape siya? So, ayan yung Buffy coat na yan. Okay? So, ayan. So basically, these are the components of your blood. Okay, we have your plasma and your form elements together with its Buffy coat. Okay, so kapag meron kang anemia, for example, kunyari may anemia ka, there is uh, decreased levels of form elements. So, usually hanggang dito lang yung form elements nyo kapag may anemia, okay? So, ang tinitingnan usually dyan is the hematocrit value ng red blood cells nyo, okay? Depress yung hematocrit value niya. Well, naman pag may polycythemia vera kayo, there is increased levels of red blood cells, okay? Aangat yan. Okay? Hanggang dito yung form elements nyo. Okay? So, ganun lang siya. Okay? So, again, itong centrifuge na yan, siya yung responsible to uh, facilitate dun, yung yung pagkakaano ng blood nyo, pagkaka-divide niya into plasma component and to your formed elements component. Okay? So, siya yung responsible dyan. Okay? So, next. So again, this is the composition of your blood. Okay, so we have your plasma and your form elements. The form elements, we have three types. We have your erythrocytes, your RBC, your platelets, and your WBC or your leukocytes. And again, your leukocytes has two major forms, your granulocytes and your agranulocytes. When you say granulocytes, so it contains multiple nuclei or polis. Okay, so it will be your neutrophils, your eosinophils, and your basophils, while your agranulocytes, so ibig sabihin wala silang nuclei. Okay, so these are your lymphocytes and your monocytes. Okay, and then the plasma component, which is the fluid component nga of your blood, it is made up of different nutrients, no? Okay, and different proteins such as nitrogenous waste, amino acid, nutrients, proteins, gases, and electrolytes. Okay, so basically we have the important proteins in our blood, which is your albumins, your globulins, and fibrinogen, which we will discuss later on. Okay? So, let's discuss first your blood plasma. Okay, so sabi ko sa inyo, plasma is composed of your water and solutes. Okay, yun yung solutes, yan yung mga electrolytes, hormones, nitrogenous waste, organic and inorganic solutes. Okay? So, your blood plasma, guys, is made up of 90% of water. Okay? Almost 90% niya water, 10% lang yung solutes niya. Okay? So basically, the water component of your plasma is responsible for dissolving and suspending medium for solutes of blood. At kaya maraming water kasi it is capable of absorbing heat. Okay? So basically, it is an aqueous solution. Okay? Aqueous solution 90% and the last 10% is made up of molecular substances or yung mga solutes nyo nga. Okay? So, ayan. So, let's discuss first the solutes in your plasma. Okay? The first solute will be your plasma proteins. Okay? So, your plasma proteins, guys, okay? So, they interact in your body in specific ways, no? To cause your blood to coagulate. Okay? And other functions niya is for transport and as an enzyme. Okay? So, meron kang uh, ang pinaka major feature ng inyong plasma protein is that one of the classes of your plasma protein is responsible to maintaining water balance by osmotic pressure. Okay, mamaya makikita nyo kung sino yun. Okay? So, sabihin ko na, so that is the protein called as your albumin, okay? Which is the main regulator of your osmotic pressure. Okay? So, ayan. So, and again, your plasma protein is an important reserve supply of amino acid for cell nutrition. Like, for example, your muscles, di ba? So, once na-use up na yung nutrients sa muscles nyo at kailangan nyo ng additional as fuel source, like for example, amino acids, fats, yung mga ganyan. Okay? So, kukuha lang sila sa bloodstream. Okay? So, ayan. In order to be used up by your cell. Okay? So, ayan. So, the first class of your plasma protein would be your albumin. Okay? So, your albumin, guys, this is the smallest and the most abundant of your plasma proteins. Okay? Smallest siya, pero pinakamarami siya. Okay? 60% of your plasma protein is made up of albumin, which is produced by your liver. Okay? At siya yung sinasabi ko sa'yo yung main contributor to osmotic pressure. Bakit? Kasi, uh, albumin is found in your blood vessels, no? That if ever there's a decreased amount of albumin inside your blood vessel, okay, the fluid, okay, in your blood, okay, will tend to go out towards the interstitial spaces, okay, causing what we call your edema. Okay? So, kapag walang albumin, guys, no, na nasa blood vessels nyo, na nakikita sa blood, okay, walang magre-regulate ng water component ng inyong blood. Okay? Kundi, ang gagawin niya, palalabasin niya kapag decrease yung amount ng albumin. Okay? Therefore, magkakaroon ng increased fluid sa interstitial fluid, leading to edema or swelling of your extremities. Okay? Kaya ang reductions niya, it result in a loss of fluid from the blood and a gain of fluid in the interstitial spaces. Okay? Kaya it plays an important role, guys, in plasma transport of substances such as your drugs, hormones, and your fatty acids. Okay? So, sometimes pa nga, it influences drug dosing nga. Kaya nga, drugs, okay? Transport of drugs, okay? And then, it serves as a secondary carrier of hormones nga, such as your thyroxine, heme, and cortisol. Okay? So, basically, ayun yung ginagawa niya. Okay? So, this is albumin, main regulator of your osmotic pressure. Okay? The next would be your albumin. Your albumin, okay? Siya yung second to the highest level of protein sa inyong plasma. Okay? So, globulin. Pang-una si albumin, pangalawa si globulin. Okay? So, globulin, guys, okay, has three classes. Okay? We have your alpha, your beta, and your gamma globulin. Okay? So, si alpha globulin, okay? So, ang main example niyan would be your high density lipoprotein. Okay? So, it is a type of an alpha-1 globulin. So, si HDL, siya yung tinatawag nating good cholesterol. Okay? So, si HDL, guys, dahil good cholesterol siya, it functions in lipid transport, okay? They carry fats, no, to cells for energy metabolism, okay? So, yun yung ginagawa niya, yung HDL nyo. At ang maganda sa HDL, they prevent the your fats, no, or lipids, or simply your cholesterol from invading or settling in your arteries. Okay? So, basically, kapag marami kayong HDL sa katawan, okay, magbabounce lang dun sa endothelial surface or endothelial lining ng inyong blood vessel, yung mga fat saka cholesterol. So, hindi siya mag-aano doon. Hindi siya ma-embed doon. Therefore, walang injury sa blood vessels nyo. So, that is your high density lipoprotein. However, yung counterpart niya, which is an LDL, okay, which is an alpha beta 1 globulin. So, ito yung pinaka-example niya. So, your low density lipoprotein naman, okay, these are your bad cholesterol na kapag mas mataas yung level ng low density lipoprotein nyo sa katawan, katawan, okay, it carries diretso yung cholesterol and fats to tissues. Okay? However, it favors its deposition, okay, to the arterial walls. Okay? Kaya ito yung kapag madaming yung level, yung lipid profile nyo kapag kinuha, tapos pag mataas yung ah low density lipoprotein nyo, it plays a role in disease of your blood vessels and the heart. So, common kayo na magkaroon ng arteriosclerosis or atherosclerosis because of that. Okay? So, yun yung nangyayari. So, kaya, 'di ba tayo ngayon, dahil medyo ano na tayo, medyo alam na natin yung mga foods no na na good for our heart, na good for our body, 'di ba? So usually ang tinitingnan na natin sa nutrition facts, 'di ba? Yung mga decrease in cholesterol na mga pagkain, 'di ba? So ayun. So nililimit na natin yung mga cholesterol lalo na kapag marami tayong low density lipoprotein. Okay? So ayan, so dapat marami tayong good cholesterol. At usually yung good cholesterol nyo makikita yan sa mga tomatoes, sa pineapple, sa mga yan, 'di ba? So yung mga may HDL, yung good tawag dito, yung mga may good cholesterol. Okay? So ayan. Okay? So, and then we have your gamma globulins nga. Okay? Mamaya papakita ko sa inyo yung sample ni gamma. Okay? So, this is your alpha, alpha and beta globulin. This is produced by the liver and they carry fats nga, lipids and fat soluble vitamins. While your gamma globulins, guys, they are connected, no, to antibodies released by your plasma cells during an immune response. So, may kinalaman naman yung gamma globulins nyo sa inyong immunity. Okay? So, yun yung ginagawa ng inyong gamma. Okay? So, yun yung three classes ng inyong globulins. Okay? So, that's the second protein found in your plasma. The third protein found in your plasma would be your fibrinogen. Okay? So, your fibrinogen accounts for 4% of your plasma protein. Again, it is produced by the liver then, and it is a soluble precursor of a sticky protein called fibrin. Okay? Si fibrin kasi, si fibrinogen, kailangan without fibrinogen hindi mo mabobuo yung substance na tinatawag natin na fibrin. Si fibrin, guys, siya yung responsible to cause blood clot formation. Okay, so basically siya tong mga strands na to. Yan yung fibrin nyo from where diyan ma-embed yung mga platelets nyo. Okay? Para makabuo ng bagong blood vessel. Lalo na kapag nasira yung blood vessels na yan. So, it plays a key role in coagulation of your blood. So, ibig sabihin ba, ma'am, kapag walang fibrinogen, hindi mabobuo si fibrin? Yes, guys. Okay? Kasi hindi siya magiging framework, 'di ba? Okay? Hindi ma-embed dyan yung mga platelets. Walang hemostasis and blood coagulation. Magkakaroon lang yan ng release of blood towards the periphery or to the outside, to the external surface of your skin. So, ayan. Kaya, kahit 4% lang siya, yung role naman niya is importante. Okay? At importante yon, no, to form your fibrin. Okay? Which forms a framework for your blood clot. Okay? So, basically, that's your fibrinogen. Okay, so again, we have three proteins. No, we have your albumin, which is responsible for maintaining your osmotic pressure. We have your globulins, no. So si globulins naman, no, meron siyang three classes, which is responsible naman, no, for for transport of lipids, 'di ba, and fat soluble vitamins, and one of which nga is related, no, to our immune response, your gamma globulin. And your fibrinogen naman, this is responsible for blood clotting mechanism. Okay, and then for non-protein nitrogenous substances, okay, this includes your urea, your uric acid, your creatinine, and your ammonium salts, sorry. So basically, these non-protein nitrogenous substances, guys, these are usually cleared from your bloodstream, and these are excreted by way of your kidneys, okay, in order to balance yung blood, yung fluid part of your body. Okay? So, ayan. And then we have your organic nutrients. So, sa organic nutrients, these are materials no, that can be absorbed by our body. Okay? So, once na inabsorb siya ng body, it can be converted nga to energy. Okay? So, basically, these nutrients found in your blood, this is our energy sources or fuel sources. Okay? So, such as your glucose, your amino acids, your fatty acids, your cholesterol, and your vitamins. Okay? And then we have your electrolytes. Okay, so this helps maintain your plasma osmotic pressure and normal blood pH. Okay, so basically these electrolytes are your sodium, your potassium, your calcium, your magnesium, chloride, phosphate, sulfate, and your bicarbonate ions. Okay, that can be found nga inside the in and out of your cells, diba? Next. And then we have your respiratory gases, your oxygen and carbon dioxide, which is responsible naman for maintaining the pH of your blood. Okay? And then we have your hormones, your steroid and thyroid hormones. Okay? So basically, these hormones naman are secreted by your endocrine gland if there is a specific target organ that needs it. Okay? So magta-travel din yung hormones sa inyong blood. Okay? So now, no, let's discuss your formed elements. Okay? So tapos na kasi tayo sa the water component or dun sa fluid component na inyong blood. Okay? So basically, it's your plasma. Okay? Which is made up of water, proteins, nitrogenous substances, electrolytes, diba? So mga ganun. Okay? So now, let's discuss the main highlight of this lecture, which is your formed elements. Okay? So the first form elements would be your erythrocytes or your RBC. The second will be your WBC, and the third would be your platelets. Okay? So let's discuss your erythrocytes or your red blood cells. Okay? So for the characteristics of your red blood cells, okay, basically they are biconcave disc. Okay? So kung mapapansin nyo, ayan siya, biconcave. Okay, so bakit siya biconcave this? Okay, dun sa concavity kasi na yan, guys, this is where your oxygen, no, binds. Okay, so without the concavity, okay, of your red blood cells, walang magkakaroon ng, walang mag-aano dyan, walang magbabind dyan ng oxygen. Such as for the case of sickle cell anemia, di ba? Dahil sickle yung shape niya, crescent moon, konti lang yung nagbabind ng oxygen. So, for every 1 RBC kasi, dapat 4 molecules of oxygen yung nagbabind. However, for patients with sickle cell, no, until hanggang 2 oxygen lang yung nagbabind doon. Okay? At possible pa na hindi magbind yung ibang oxygen. Okay? Kaya, yung mga may sickle cell anemia, they lack oxygen in their body. Okay? So, basically, ang first characteristic niya is that it is a biconcave disc. Okay? So next, okay, it is enucleated and no organelles. Okay? So basically, they are not true cells. Tinatawag siyang not true cells. Bakit? Kasi nga, wala siyang nucleus. Okay? Na-expel yung nucleus during the differentiation process. Okay? Kasi meron yung pinaka-stem cell. And during this differentiation, nalalaglag yung mga organelles saka mga nucleus. So basically, your mature RBC has no nucleus. Okay? Pero, kahit unucleated siya, guys, may lifespan siya na 120 days. Okay? May lifespan siya na 120 days. Excuse me. And then, it is produced, no, at the early weeks of your fetal development. Okay? It is basically produced by your the yolk sac. Okay? And then during the middle trimester of gestation, it is formed by the liver, spleen, and lymph nodes. Kaya naka-highlight yung liver, okay? So basically, this is the main source of your RBC during the middle trimester of gestation process. And then the latter part of gestation and after birth, no? So basically, kapag until 5 years old, no? So you have your bone marrow that will release your RBC. And then we have your membranous bones. If you're greater than 20 years old, we have the membranous bones of your body. So these membranous bones, no? So ang example niya will be your vertebra, your sternum, yung sternum, your ribs and your ilium. Okay, so ilium of the hip bone, no? So basically sila yung membranous bones that produces red blood cells. Okay, so ayan, kasi they contain red bone marrow. Okay? And then, ano pa ba masasabi ko dito? Basically, okay, yung values niya, okay, sa male, 5.2 to 6.4 million. Female is 4.8 million. Okay? So basically, your blood cells, no, are the most abundant of all the formed elements. Okay? So ayan. And nakalimutan ko pala sabihin, no, kaya siya biconcave disc, no. It allows because of its shape, no, na biconcave, no, it can change remarkably. Okay, so how does it change remarkably? Okay, as the cells pass through your capillaries, it becomes flexible and it provides a large surface volume ratio to facilitate gas exchange nga. Basically, kaya siya talaga biconcave. Okay, so inaano niya yan, tawag dito, dahil it provides a large surface area. Okay, dun sa inyong binding of oxygen and gases. Okay? So, ayan. Ano pa ba yung kailangan nyo maalala dito? Okay? So, usually, ano pa ba to? Liver. So, ayun lang. Wala na namang iba. So, structural characteristics. Okay? So, if there is a decrease in red blood cells, ang tawag doon anemia. If there is an increased red blood cells, meron kang polycythemia. Or in other books, no, anong term yun? It's erythrocytosis. If I'm not mistaken, erythrocytosis or polycythemia vera. Excuse me, guys. Okay, so ayan. So, main function, okay? Muna tayo sa main function. The main function of your red blood cells is that it transport respiratory gases, mainly your oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay, aside from transporting, no, yung tinatawag nating carbon dioxide, it contains din, no, aside from it is packed with oxygen, it carries a protein, no, known as your hemoglobin, okay? From where your oxygen binds. Okay? So, without hemoglobin in your RBC, hindi makakapag-bind din si oxygen. Okay? So, it transport hemoglobin that carries oxygen from the lungs to the tissue. Okay? So, ibig sabihin ba niyan, ma'am? Si hemoglobin, hindi lang niya binibigyan ng ng color red yung blood. Yes, guys, hindi lang siya responsible for the redness of the blood. Okay? Your hemoglobin, basically, so dito din nagbabind ang inyong oxygen. No? So kapag walang hemoglobin, hindi makakapag-bind yung oxygen. Walang matatransport. Okay? Na oxygen to your systemic circulation. Okay, aside from that, no, it contains excuse me, it contains large quantities of carbonic anhydrase. Okay, what is this carbonic anhydrase? Okay, so basically this carbonic anhydrase, guys, catalyzes the reversible reaction between carbon dioxide and water. Okay, bakit ba kailangan ng carbonic anhydrase? Kasi guys, your carbon dioxide is transported in the form of bicarbonate ions. Okay, kaya si carbon dioxide, once na nag-bind siya with your blood, no, it reacts with your water because of this carbonic anhydrates, forming your carbonic acid. And it transports carbon dioxide from the tissues to the lungs in the form of bicarbonate ion. So, parang ginagawa niya, uh, tawag dito, siya yung responsible for most of the buffering mechanism of your whole blood para hindi maging acidic, too much acidic yung blood nyo. Kaya kino-convert niya yung carbon dioxide niya into bicarbonate ions. Okay? So, ganun siya. Okay, I hope maliwanag yun, no? So, ayan. Next ay, let's go to your blood cell formation or the process of hematopoiesis. So, ano ba tong hematopoiesis na to or blood cell formation, ma'am? Okay, so basically, hematopoiesis pertains to blood cell formation. Okay, and this blood cell formation, guys, occurs in your red bone marrow. Okay, so dito, guys, you'll see that all blood cells no are derived from a common stem cell. Okay? Meron siyang pinaka stem cell. Okay? And then if a certain form element is needed by your body, etong stem cell na to will further differentiate, okay, into a specific type of formed elements needed by your body. Okay? So basically, kasi yung ano nyo, yung mga once na nag-mature na kasi yung form elements nyo guys, they are unable to divide, they are unable to grow or synthesize. Kaya nga, lahat ng form elements nyo, meron silang lifespan. Okay? Kapag namatay na sila, okay, basically, your body na lang or your stem cell na lang, your stem cell will differentiate to form the committed stem cell of that died formed elements. So, ganun yung nangyayari sa kanya. Okay? So, kaya nga, for example, unahin muna nating ipakita will be the formation of your erythrocytes. So, basically, they wear out, 'di ba, ng 100 to 120 days. Okay? When they are worn out, no, they will be eliminated. Yung mga red blood cells nyo, they will be eliminated by the phagocytes found in your liver and your spleen. Okay? Tapos, yung lost cells, guys, they are not unlike your somatic cells, 'di ba? Na they are capable of producing two daughter nuclei, 'di ba? So they are capable of producing cell mitosis. Yung mga matured blood cells nyo, hindi siya capable of that. Kaya ang basically responsible for that would be your stem cell. Okay? So, yung stem cell, sila yung nagdi-divide, constantly dividing into a specific form elements needed by your body. Okay? At yung genesis nila, yung pinaka formation nila is depends on your on your body's on the needed nutrients by your body. Okay? So let's start with let's start with siguro your blood, tawag dito, your red blood cells, okay? So, yan. Ito na tayo. Okay? So, this is basically the picture or the diagram of your blood cell formation. Okay? So, how does your red blood cells ba formed, no? Can be formed, okay? So basically, okay, so we have this diagram, okay? So we have your hemocytoblast, which is the main stem cell of all your formed elements, okay? So basically, this is your, tawag dito, your, the stem cell of your erythrocyte. Sorry guys, naubo lang ako. Sorry talaga, pasensya na. Okay? So, your your red blood cells start with the stem cell found in your bone marrow, okay, transform into a committed stem cell, okay, which is your proerythroblast. Okay? Si proerythroblast ngayon, siya yung tinatawag nating committed stem cell. Okay? So basically, there are specific type of committed stem cell per formed elements. Okay? For example, sa erythrocytes nga, we have your proerythroblast. Sa lymphocyte, we have your lymphoblast or lymphoid tissue. Yung mga ganun, lymphoblast. Tapos sa mga monocytes, we have your monoblast. Yung mga ganun. Okay? Meron kang committed type of cell, okay, that will differentiate. So this committed cell, guys, this is capable of differentiation, okay, in order to form your mature formed element. So dito sa picture na to, ang pinapakita ko lang dito would be your RBC lang, okay? So meron siyang committed stem cell known as your proerythroblast. Okay? So this proerythroblast will give rise to what we call your erythroblast. Okay? Your early erythroblast. Okay? So this early erythroblast, guys, okay? So kung mapapansin nyo dito sa picture na ito, so in your erythroblastic stage, early and late erythroblastic stage, meron tayong highlight, okay? So there is ribosomal synthesis, okay? They produce huge number of ribosomes. So basically, yung yung pinaka erythrocytes nyo, they started with with nuclei and with organelles. Okay? So, ayan, meron siyang nuclei and may organelles. Kaya nga they are capable of ribosome synthesis, di ba? So, that's until your late erythroblastic stage. Okay? Nagkakaroon ng ribosomal synthesis. However, it will further differentiate to become your normoblast. And during this normoblast stage, okay, so nagkakaroon ka na ng hemoglobin accumulation. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, yung from a dark blue, okay, blue staining granule, nagiging na siyang pinkish in color. Okay, so ayan, hemoglobin synthesis and iron accumulation occurs. Kaya, the color of the cell cytoplasm changes from a blue staining ribosomes become masked with the pink color of your hemoglobin. Okay? And then, kung mapapansin nyo, dito sa normoblastic stage, no, yung mga organelles, no, nawawala. Okay? And then, at the end of the normoblastic activity, ayan, hemoglobin, okay, when a normoblast accumulated almost all of its hemoglobin, it will eject most of its organelle together with with its nuclei. Okay? Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, nagde-degenerate yung nuclei, napipinch off siya. Okay? Kaya na-assume nyo na yung biconcave disc na tinatawag natin. Okay? So basically, during your pag tinanong sa inyo, what phase in the differentiation of your erythrocytes, no? Uh, happens the tawag dito, the expulsion of nuclei and the organelles in your erythrocyte. So, ang sasagot nyo, normoblastic stage, okay? And then, after your normoblastic stage, the result will be your reticulocyte. And this reticulocyte is a form of your immature red blood cells. So, pag tinanong naman kayo, what do you call your immature red blood cells? Ang tawag doon, reticulocytes, okay? So, they are released from your bone marrow during this stage, okay? So, dito, they contain mitochondria, some mitochondria, ribosomes, and Golgi elements, no? In order to synthesize hemoglobin. Okay? So, yan yung tinatawag nating reticulocyte. In some pictures, no, mas malaki siya talaga dun sa mature erythrocytes mo. Mas malaki ang reticulocyte. Okay? They are larger than your mature RBCs. Okay? So, pero wala na siyang nuclei. Meron lang siyang konti-konting mitochondria and ribosomes, pero wala siyang nuclei in order lang to accommodate pa yung hemoglobin. Okay? So, ayun nga, nawala sa phase 3 nga dito sa reticulocyte, wala na nuclei, pero naiiwan pa yung konting mga ribosomes, mitochondria. So, ayan. So, basically, ganun yung nangyayari sa reticulocyte period. Okay? So, ayan. Aside from that, no, sorry, dahil immature sila, okay, at na-fill na siya with hemoglobin, after 2 to 3 days, okay, after 2 days of release sa bone marrow, they become your mature erythrocytes in the blood. Okay? So, they assume a biconcave disc na. Okay? So, ayan yung pinaka-differentiation ng inyong erythrocytes. Okay? So, maliwanag ba yon? It came from your stem cell, okay, in your bone marrow. Tapos, it gives rise to the committed stem cells known as your proerythroblast. And this proerythroblast will differentiate, no, to become your mature erythrocyte. Okay, so basically guys, kapag namatay na tong erythrocyte mo, they are not capable of dividing. Okay, kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, they are unable to divide, grow, or synthesize. Automatically, after 120 days, your mature erythrocytes will be phagocytized sa inyong spleen at sa inyong liver. Okay? At kapag syempre nagkulang na yung level sa blood, no, your stem cell, no, will again promote the formation of your committed stem cell for your RBC. So ganun lang yung yung pinaka formation niya. Okay? So pag wala na to, magdi-differentiate lang ito. Okay? Magfo-form lang siya ng committed stem cell. At si committed stem cell, magdi-differentiate siya. Okay? So basically, ganun yung formation ng inyong blood cell. Okay? I hope maliwanag. Okay? Okay. Wait lang guys. I'll just take my water. Okay. Okay, guys. So basically, yung pinakita ko sa inyo kanina would be the formation lang of your erythrocytes. Okay? Kasi nasa RBC tayo. Okay? So now, let's discuss your other type of blood cell formation. So papakita ko lang sa inyo dito in this diagram. Okay? Kay Marieb kasi itong diagram na to. Okay? So kay Marieb, mapapansin nyo, okay? So yung hemocytoblast nyo, okay, yung stem cell nyo, it will further differentiate to other type of cells. Okay? So, yung kaninang sinabi ko sa inyo, yung stem cells ni erythrocyte, siya si proerythroblast. Siya yung tinatawag nating myeloid stem cell ng iyong erythrocytes, your proerythroblast. And then, no, so, itong lymphocytes nyo, ang pinaka-stem cells naman niya, yung pinaka-precursor niya, yung committed stem cells nyo, these are your lymphoid stem cells or your lymphoblasts. Okay? Tapos itong myeloid stem cells na to, ang tawag kapag erythrocytes, proerythroblast. Pag platelets, iba din. Pag basophils, iba din. So, marami yan. Okay, iisa-isahin na natin later on as we go through the specific type of WBC. Okay, kasi madami siya. Okay? So, ayan lang yun. Sorry. Okay, so pinapakita ko lang dito sa diagram na to na they are capable of differentiation. Okay? So, ayan. So, RBC pa rin tayo, guys. Okay. So, next. Okay. So, what is the signaling factor, okay, of your body that it is capable of producing RBC? Ano yung signal factor na, uy, mag-produce ka na ng another RBC bone marrow? Yung mga ganon. Okay? So, basically, yung pinaka-major regulator ng RBC nyo is the presence of tissue oxygenation. Okay? That if there is a decreased amount of oxygen in your body, okay, capable talaga si stem cell to promote the production of its committed stem cell. Okay? So, basically, ito yung mga condition, okay, that decreases tissue oxygenation. Kapag meron kang ganito, okay, basically your bone marrow will release the committed stem cell of your RBC. Okay, so again, what are the conditions that required increased rate of RBC production? Syempre, pag meron kang anemia, 'di ba? So, pag may anemia ka kasi, there is decreased red blood cells, okay? So, usually nagkakaroon ka ng anemia if there is destruction of the major portions of your bone marrow, 'di ba? So, again, so kapag may anemia ka, so possible na tumaas yung levels ng RBC mo, ng production of RBC mo. Aside from anemia, kapag mga may high altitude, okay? High altitude, 'di ba kapag nasa malalamig kang places, 'di ba? The quantity of air is reduced, okay? Therefore, kapag konti yung nalalanghap mo na air, konti yung oxygen na pumapasok sa respiratory system mo. Basically, nag-i-increase yung functional ability of the stem cell of your RBC to transform into its committed stem cell. Kasi nga kulang eh. So, ibig sabihin nun, magre-release ng RBC para once na marami ng air na pumasok, mas pag doon maaanuhan yung demand ng katawan nyo, masusupplyan yung demand. Okay, so ayan, high altitude. And the last would be cardiac failure and lung diseases. Okay, so syempre kapag may cardiac failure ka and lung diseases, these are diseases that causes decreased blood flow through your peripheral blood vessels. At syempre kapag meron kang decreased blood flow sa peripheral blood vessels mo, anong mangyayari? Pag meron kang ganun, so kailangan mo ng additional amount of oxygen, 'di ba? Okay, or ng red blood cells. Okay, so basically, tissue oxygenation is the basic regulator, no, of your RBC production. Okay, next. Sorry guys, sinisipon talaga ako. Okay, next. Um, This slide naman guys tells us what structure is responsible for the formation of your RBC. Okay, so basically who starts the process. Hindi lang naman pwedeng alam mo na tawag dito, kulang ka ng tissue ng oxygen, kaya magre-release siya. So, basically, meron pang structure na dapat ma-form, no, in order to facilitate the process of forming new RBC. Okay, and that is your erythropoietin. Okay, so basically, this is the principal structure or factor or enzyme that stimulates your RBC production. So, your your erythropoietin, guys. So this is released by your kidneys, okay? So basically kidney yan, okay? So once na na-detect ng kidney nyo that there is decrease red blood cells in your bloodstream, your kidney will release your erythropoietin. Or kung hindi kidneys, no, we have your liver. Okay? And non-renal sources, sila lang yung nag stimulate ng production ni kidney ng erythropoietin. Okay? So kapag there's too much epinephrine or epinephrine prostaglandins in your bloodstream, no, so it stimulates the kidney to form your erythropoietin. Excuse me. So, ang pinaka main effect niya is that upon the release of this erythropoietin, it will what? It will send signals, no? It will be released by your kidneys, no? It will release sa kidneys nyo towards your bloodstream in order for your bone marrow to release your uh, committed stem cell of your RBC. So, ganito yung picture niya. Okay? So, if there is increased levels of, yan, sa blood, there is increased levels of epinephrine and prostaglandins, it will stimulate your kidney to release the substance known as your erythropoietin. And this erythropoietin, when it's released by your bloodstream, it will signal, no, yung bone marrow nyo to produce your committed stem cell for erythrocytes. Okay? So basically, magdi-differentiate lang yan. Okay? Yung mga committed stem cell nyo sa bone marrow, it will differentiate to become your proerythroblast. Your proerythroblast will differentiate, no, to to early erythroblast, late erythroblast, papunta kay normocyte, normoblast, papunta kay reticulocyte. And then after 2 days, your reticulocyte will go, no, towards your blood vessels in order to mature in 2 days, okay? Para maging si mature erythrocytes nyo. So basically, that is your erythropoietin. Siya yung pinaka enzyme responsible, no, in converting the differentiation of your siya yung responsible for formation of the committed stem cell of your erythrocytes. Okay? So ayan, in the process known as your erythrogenesis. Okay? Kasi nga erythrocytes tayo. Okay? So I hope it's maliwanag. Okay? So ayan. So, ayan. Aside from that, okay, aside from your erythropoietin, guys, okay, so, syempre, di ba, yung hematopoietic stem cells mo, nagiging siya si proerythroblast. Pero, yung maturity of your RBC, guys, no, depends on the levels of your vitamin B12 or your cyanocobalamin and your folic acid. Kaya nga, di ba, sa mga mothers nyo na nagdadalang tao, for example, so, pinapainom sila ng B12 saka folic acid in order for their RBC to mature easily kasi syempre dalawa na yung kailangan ng oxygen, 'di ba? Yung mother saka yung baby. Okay? So ayan. So kailangan niyang mag-mature, no, yung RBC niyo via the folic acid, no? Via your folic acid and your vitamin B12. Okay? So ayan siya. Okay. So again, no? Sorry, nakalimutan ko. So again, okay, so for maturation of your RBC, it is important that there are two vitamins found in your blood. Your vitamin B12 and your folic acid, okay? Both of these are essential for the synthesis of DNA, okay? Because each in a different way is required for the match formation of your DNA, building blocks of DNA, lalo na sa baby. Okay? So, yan. Eh, ma'am, paano kapag hindi nag-mature yung erythrocytes? Meron bang condition yun? Pag hindi nag-mature yung erythrocytes nyo, guys, magkakaroon lang kayo ng ano man yun, malaking erythrocytes, your reticulocytes, okay? At kapag madami sila, ang tawag doon is it's your macrocytes. Okay? So, ayan. Okay, so now let's discuss the hemoglobin in your blood. Okay? So, ano ba tong hemoglobin na to? Okay, so basically, the hemoglobin in your blood, okay, the hemoglobin in your blood, no? So these are under normal condition, oxygen, no? Oxygen is carried to the tissues almost entirely by your hemoglobin. Okay? So basically, your oxygen binds with your hemoglobin. Okay? So it is the most important feature of your blood, of your erythrocytes. Okay? The presence of hemoglobin. Kasi dito nagbabind ang inyong oxygen. Okay? So ayan. So the synthesis of hemoglobin, guys, sabi ko sa inyo kanina, begins in the proerythroblast stage and even up to the reticulocyte stage, 'di ba? Okay? And its most important feature, ulitin ko, is its ability to combine loosely and reversibly with uh with oxygen. Okay? So ayan. So we have 15 grams of hemoglobin in each 100 milliliter of blood. Okay, so it is a type of protein that makes your red blood cells red. Okay, so your hemoglobin, guys, this is made up of uh four of globin. Okay, kaya nga hemoglobin. Okay, protein. Okay, this globin, no, is ano, this globin is made up of protein change bound to iron containing heme. Okay? So when it carries oxygen, ang pangalan niya oxyhemoglobin, and if it carries carbon dioxide, ang tawag diyan would be carbaminohemoglobin. Okay? So its normal values, no? Sa male, we have 13 to 18 gram per deciliter. Sa female, we have 12 to 16. So again, mas mataas sa male kasi nga mas mataas yung blood blood levels nila. Okay? And then, guys, nakalimutan ko palang sabihin sa inyo, kung kung walang ibibigay na gender, okay, ang normal value ng hemoglobin nyo talaga is 12 to 15. Okay? So, ayun. In other books lang yon. Okay? Pero kapag male, ito, 13 to 18, female, 12 to 16. Okay? So, basically, hemoglobin is important for the binding of your oxygen. Okay? So, ganito lang naman yun. Okay? So, when oxygen is high, okay, when oxygen is high, lalo na sa lungs nyo, okay, your pulmonary capillaries will tend to push oxygen, okay, towards the hemoglobin of your erythrocytes. Well, if oxygen is too low, okay, yung tissue capillaries nyo sa heart, okay, so oxygen naman is released from the hemoglobin. Okay, paano ba yun? Okay, if oxygen is too high, okay, kunyari sa respiratory member nyo, sobrang daming oxygen, it will push yung binding of oxygen to your hemoglobin. However, no, so, syempre, dala-dala na yung hemoglobin. So, basically, paano mare-release si oxygen kay hemoglobin? Mare-release lang siya, guys, kapag kailangan naman ng systemic circulation nyo, mainly ng tissues nyo ng oxygen. So, ibig sabihin lang nun, if oxygen is low in your tissue capillaries na tayo, kasi kanina pulmonary capillaries, kaya nag-bind yung oxygen kay hemoglobin. Kapag there is low oxygen in your tissue capillaries, oxygen is released from the hemoglobin. Okay? May use up siya ng body nyo. Okay, so ganon si hemoglobin. Okay, so how does our body form hemoglobin? Ma'am, paano? Okay, so basically this is the formation of your hemoglobin. Okay, this diagram. Okay, so first, no, succinyl coenzyme A plus 2, itong succinyl coenzyme na to, guys, this is formed in the Krebs cycle. Okay? So this succinyl coenzyme A binds with glycine in order to form your pyrrole molecule. So this is your pyrrole molecule. So meron siyang two succinyl coenzyme A and we have two glycine. Okay? So ayan. So basically they form your pyrrole molecule. Okay? So kailangan mo ng apat na ganito. Okay? So your apat na ganito, your 4 pyrrole molecule, okay? Your pyrrole molecule combines naman, okay? So, apat na pyrrole molecule combined in order to form your photoporphyrin, ano ba to? 9. Okay, your photoporphyrin 9 then combines with your iron to form your heme molecule. Okay? So, your finally, okay, so each heme molecule, no? Each heme molecule combines with a long peptide chain. Okay? So, when it combines with a long peptide chain, okay, a globin, okay, is synthesized. Okay, hemoglobin chain will be produce. Okay? Kasi nga, heme plus polypeptide, that polypeptide will be your globin. Okay? Which is synthesized by your ribosomes. Okay? Forming a subunit of your hemoglobin. Okay? Called hemoglobin chain. Okay? And this hemoglobin chain, okay, meron siyang two types. Actually, four types nga. Okay? We have beta, alpha, gamma, and delta chain. Pero yung pinaka ano talaga, pinaka madami will be your alpha and beta chains. Okay? These alpha and beta chains, okay, will unite, two alpha chains will, and two beta chains will unite to form your hemoglobin A. Okay? Kasi this is the most common form of your hemoglobin A, which is the combination of two alpha chains and two beta chains from your hemoglobin chain. Okay? So, ibig sabihin pala may hemoglobin B. Oo, meron din, guys. Okay? Pero ito nga yung pinaka common, hemoglobin A na lang. Okay? Pag tinanong sa inyo, what is the composition of your hemoglobin A? So, sabihin nyo lang, two alpha chains and two beta chains. Okay? Pag tinanong sa inyo, what is the components of your hemoglobin chain? We have your heme plus your globin or your polypeptide chain. Okay? So, how do you form your heme? Pag tinanong sa inyo, how do you form your heme? So, heme is formed by uh, porphyrin 9 plus iron. Okay? So, basically, ayun lang. Okay? So, madali lang yung formation ng inyong hemoglobin. Okay? Tatandaan nyo lang, no? Hemoglobin is needed, no? For your oxygen to bind to. Okay? So, ayan. Now, so how do we destroy, okay, RBC? Okay? So, after 120 days, no? So, once released from the cell, okay, so ganito na yung nangyayari dyan. Once released by the cell, it will burst and release hemoglobin. Okay? So, magbaburst na lang yan, saka i-release nyo yung hemoglobin. Your hemoglobin will be phagocytosized in your liver cells. Okay? So, basically, the macrophages in your liver, known as your Kupffer cells, no, will synthesize or will eat, okay? Will directly eat down your hemoglobin. Okay? So, aside from liver, we have your spleen and bone marrow. So, after a few days, no, na breakdown si hemoglobin, the iron from your hemoglobin is released. Okay, back to the blood. Okay? Kasi para magamit ulit. Okay? Para upon formation of new RBC, gagamitin ulit si iron, 'di ba? Para makapag-form ng heme. So, yun lang yung ginagawa niya. So, basically, that is the process. Okay? So, ma'am, bakit gano'n? Bakit nag-burst at saka bakit nag-release yung inyong yung red blood cells? Kasi guys, 'di ba, kapag nagamit na siya, okay? So, nag-undergo na siya ng ito, phagocytosis, nag-undergo na siya ng, alam niyo yung hypertonic saka hypotonic solution, 'di ba? So, basically, your RBC will undergo shrinkage, no? Kapag nasa hypertonic solution siya. Okay? Well, kapag nasa hypotonic solution naman, nag-undergo siya ng hemolysis. Okay? So, kasi ano ba nangyayari sa hypotonic solution? Sa hypotonic solution, 'di ba? There will be a decreased salt concentration outside the cell. Okay? So, basically, nagkakaroon ng accumulation of fluid inside the cell. So, pag nangyari yon, okay? Okay, nagkakaroon ng hemolysis, yung rupture or destruction of RBC. Kasi nga, tawag dito, papunta sa loob yung water, 'di ba? Kasi nga decrease yung salt concentration outside. So, yung water papasok sa loob. Ending nun, bigla na lang siyang maghe-hemolysis, 'di ba? Bigla na lang siyang magra-rupture. Okay? So, it is more worse than an hypertonic solution. Kasi sa hypotonic solution, nade-destroy talaga yung RBC nyo. Okay? At yun yung nangyayari talaga once nagkakaroon na ng 120 days. Okay? After 120 days. Okay? So, ayan lang siya. And then, may use up again. Okay? So, kindly check it out na lang. Okay, so let's discuss the disorders of RBC. Okay, the first disorder of your RBC is that uh the first, no, would be your aside from anemia and polycythemia vera, we have also what we call your sickle cell anemia. Okay, so in sickle cell anemia, the red blood cells become rigid and sticky. 'Di ba? Kaya nga siya biconcave, para they can easily penetrate to the minute pores of your blood vessel, 'di ba? So ganun yung RBC, kaya siya biconcave, 'di ba? Flexible sila. However, no, if they are sickle in shape, no, rigid na siya at saka sticky. Okay? At they are shaped like crescent moons. Ang problema dito, nagbabara siya dun sa mga pores. Okay? At possible na magbara din siya dun sa mga smaller arteries or sa smaller arterioles nyo. Okay? So, ma'am, bakit ba nagkakaroon ng sickle cell anemia? Nagkakaroon ng sickle cell anemia kasi there is problem in encoding valine. Okay? Instead of valine, dun sa genetic profile nyo, instead of valine, ang napopromote is formation of glutamic acid. Kasi glutamic acid, kapag siya yung na-form, okay? So, ang nire-release naman niya, pag na-encode si glutamic acid, will be your hemoglobin S. Eh, wala namang hemoglobin S, 'di ba? Ang normal is hemoglobin A, 'di ba? Wherein it is a combination of hemoglobin, 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains. So, dito, na-form si hemoglobin S. Okay? At kapag nag-form si hemoglobin S, guys, wala kayo masyadong oxygen. Okay? Kasi nga, saan magbabind ang inyong oxygen, 'di ba? Okay, saan magbabind dito sa sickle cell shape na to? At it will not pass through your capillary pores, okay? So magbabara siya sa inyong mga pores. Okay, so ayun lang, problem in encoding valine. Instead of valine, na-encode si glutamic acid, kaya ka na nagka-sickle cell anemia. Okay, aside from sickle cell, we have your anemia. Okay, so anemia means the deficiency of hemoglobin in the blood. Okay, which can be caused either by too few red blood cells or little hemoglobin in the cells. Okay, there are other types of anemia, guys. Okay? And their physiologic causes are caused by, minsan, ayan nga, too rapid loss of RBC or too slow production of RBC. Okay? Pero again, ang effect niya is anemia that will greatly influence your cardiac output as well as the pumping workload of the heart. Kasi syempre, pag wala kang red blood cells, ano mapapump ng heart mo sa tissues mo, 'di ba wala? Okay, so ayan, anemia. Okay, and then we have your polycythemia nga, which is an increase in RBC levels. Okay, but they are immature cells. Kaya nga polycythemia. Kung makakakita kayo sa YouTube, okay, kindly check out on YouTube yung polycythemia vera. Kung makikita nyo, sobrang lalaki nung RBC. So basically, that is your reticulocytes na hindi nag-mature to become your erythrocytes. Okay, meron yung dalawang forms pa. We have your primary polycythemia and your secondary polycythemia, or yung primary, yun yung tinatawag nating polycythemia vera, in which red blood cells, no, may be about 7 to 8 million. Okay, kaya tumataas yung hematocrit level niya ng 60 to 70%. Okay, usually kasi itong polycythemia vera, if I'm not mistaken, I think it is caused by a genetic aberration in your hemocystoblastic cells. Okay? So, yung mga blast cells nyo, yung pinaka-committed stem cells dito sa polycythemia vera, hindi sila nag-i-stop na nagpo-produce ng red blood cells. Di ba dapat, kapag kailangan lang ng oxygen ng tissues nyo, saka lang siya magdi-differentiate. Dito hindi, produce siya ng produce. Okay? Kaya, there are too many red blood cells formed in your polycythemia vera or dun sa pinaka primary polycythemia vera. Okay? Tapos yung hematocrit na sinasabi ko sa inyo, kaya mataas yung level niya. Kasi pag sinabi nating hematocrit, yan yung estimate volume of packed erythrocytes per unit blood volume. So dapat yung hematocrit level, if I'm not mistaken, sa men 40 to 50% lang siya. Sa women 35 to 45. Sa mga cases na polycythemia vera, yung hematocrit level nila tumataas nga ng 60 to 70% instead of the normal na 40 to 45 lang or 40 to 50, 'di ba? So ayan. So problema diyan, immature, hindi rin nagagamit ng katawan nyo yung mga red blood blood cells. Okay? Tapos sa secondary polycythemia naman, okay, whenever the tissue becomes hypoxic, or there is too decreased oxygen in your tissues because of too little oxygen, no, na hihinga nyo, for example, sa air, okay, such as nasa high altitude kayo or meron kayong respiratory failure or cardiac failure. So yun yung secondary polycythemia vera. Okay, kung ang polycythemia vera nyo na primary, it is because of the too much release of your hemocytoblast ng committed stem cell mo for erythrocytes na hindi nagmamature. Sa secondary, merong underlying conditions lang. Okay, and that underlying conditions can be lung and cardiac problem. Okay, so basically those are the three major disorders of your RBC. Okay, so hindi na natin iisa-isahin yung anemia. Okay, so ayan, so basically that's your RBC. Ano lang muna tayo, break lang muna tayo ng 5 minutes and then we'll discuss your leukocytes. Okay?